Hi, my name is Tom Knob. Today I'm going to be doing a presentation, a demonstration of the HP Helion development platform. I'm going to show how the Helion development platform provides a modern infrastructure to support development needs for the enterprises that need and want to operate at startup speeds. Today I'll play the role of two personas. The first is going to be Jim, who's a developer, and the second one will be an IT personnel, support personnel. So as I go through this demonstration, please pay close attention to how the developers now interact and interface with the operations personnel. They can build apps that connect to services quickly, yet the operations personnel can manage these services as they manage the stack. Jim is a developer that's building a candidate tracking application for the HR department. This application helps recruiters track where their candidates are within the hiring process. So as a developer that works upon this app, I spend most of my time inside of the IDE, or the integrated development environment, writing and debugging my code and doing these activities locally. Sometimes deploying an app to a staging environment is difficult and time consuming. It could take weeks for operations personnel to set up an environment that contains the frameworks and the runtimes that I need. This Node.js application, for example, still might not even be allowed by IT. Okay, still from the development perspective, let's switch to a familiar tool set, Eclipse, to examine our example a little more closely. So here we see some of the code that's within the Java environment. So the HP Helion development platform experience contains tooling in the forms of an IDE, such as this Eclipse plugin. For developers who like and prefer the command line, you can also use the CLI for deployment and management. Okay, Helion development platform supports a polyglot development environment, so it supports many modern programming languages and environments, including Java, .NET, Python, PHP, and Ruby. With the HDP, there's no longer a need to maintain a separate environment for each technology stack. So deployers are free to use the tools that work the best for them and yet be confident that they will be deployed effortlessly and error-free upon the hardware stack. What you see here is the manifest. This is a crucial component for cloud-native apps. This is where developers explicitly state the resources that are required to run this application. So in this instance, we see that it's some of the explicitly required services and applications and resources, memory, which needs 256 meg, and then also it requires a MySQL database. So this contains all specifications for the resources and services that the app requires in order to run in production. So as part of the app development lifecycle process, let's look at how a developer may make changes to a local development, the app in a local environment, and then push and deploy these to production quite easily. As we look at these particular lines of code, we see that we have commented out code that allows the add user. So let's clean this up, take it out, and then deploy this. We'll save it. And then next, we'll go to the command line. We'll perform some activities to push this into the Helion development environment. That's the command to indicate your target, in this case your Helion development platform endpoint. So that works. So now we get to log in. So the next command now is to push the changes in this application to the production environment. So now it's been pushed. It works. So let's see what's going on now. So return to the app. We now see that there's a new tab here that's available, Import Candidate. So let's update. So update it. Now we see there's a new tab available. It is Add User. So here we can add the user very seamlessly and painlessly, and we could submit it. But we'll just, in this case, we know that it works, and we'll just stop. So now this was deployed in seconds without any intervention from either IT support or additional development personnel. Okay, so we've made these changes. We've added this to the added these updates to the pool. So what now do we need to do? What else can we do now? So let's go to the HDP Development Platform. So back to Eclipse. MySQL Store. What we notice here is that it's not necessary to explicitly define the variables such as the login and the passwords to access the internal services within the application. This is all handled by the way the services are set up and run. So now going to the HDP Development Platform. We click on the application. This is a summary. It shows us what's going on within this. So now let's change this and let's modify it a bit. Let's look at the instances that are available. Now from these instances, let's change how we do our scaling. So we're going to change the instances from 1 to 4. So now instead of 1 instance, we have 4 instances running this application. So the response time should be much improved if there was any sort of a load on that server. So it's added more instances using Docker containers. So in this instance, we're using a manual set a maximum or count of 4. What happens if you want to automate this process somewhat? This is where auto scaling comes into play. Here we have set the CPU threshold runs from 20% to 80%, and let's modify how the instances are worked. So now if it goes below 20%, it goes to 1 instance. If it goes above 80%, it goes to 5 instances. So now this is running. So now I'm going to change roles and personality and become Larry. He's an IT personnel operator, so let's look at clusters now. So we see here that we have several clusters that are running. Now the clusters application lifecycle management service tab gets added to the Horizon UI when a cloud admin installs the HDP development platform onto an HDP Helion OpenStack environment. So as the cloud admin, I can use this tab to provide the resources such as the ALS clusters that are required for developers and their apps. So after a cluster is given to the development team, when the developers are using a PaaS environment, they can specify which services they need from that cluster, and the PaaS layer will automatically provision that service for them. Additionally, we see that it will auto spin an application services up as well. I can define for a given environment, all the services and connections are defined by the cloud operators so they are readily available to the development teams. I can define the specifications for a new server cluster by creating a create cluster button and filling out the form. We'll provide a title, demo. The prefix will also be demo. And then we'll provide an email, and then a password. Nothing else to fill out here. The only other option would be what sort of services are available. Cluster admin password. So next, simply fill that portion of the cluster creation. What are the services that would be available? In this case, RabbitMQ, Memcached, Redis, and file system. Now, talk about these applications. Of note, the application services that are described here are what we would call unmanaged services. These come out of the box with the Helium development platform, and they are single instance services, meaning that if they were to fail, there's no redundancy to provided, so the service they would provide would be unavailable to that application. So unmanaged services are functionality that developers can access during the development, but that do not offer enterprise-grade features. That's unmanaged services. Managed services, as an example, are services that are managed external to the development process. For instance, MySQL, in this case, is a managed service. It's provided by the cluster, by the cloud. So we'll select, in this case, MySQL, and we don't want it to be unmanaged. We want it to be managed. We have an existing OpenStack MySQL instance, so let's use that one. And then we'll select the instance that we want, and then we'll go with the HDP Demo large-DB. Okay, this is just an example, so we won't create it at this time, so we'll cancel this. So as we approach the end of this demo, I'm returning to the role of the Jim, and since I'm a developer, I've been told that I can't use the Node.js anymore, but instead I need to use Java. But I'm pretty savvy, and I can manage that fairly well. So let's go to the ALS cluster tab. Remember, this is the Helium endpoint, ALS, the Helium development platform endpoint. And then let's go to, in this instance, service the summary, services. And we see we have one service. Let's click on that. This service is MySQL 5.5. If you recall, that was created in part of the managed services provided by the cloud environment. So going back, let's see. So let's go back here to the Horizon portal. We know this is where the instance lives, and we also know this is the instance that's being used. So we go to select this instance, and then we go to applications, HDP recruit. We're going to stop this. Are you sure you want to stop? Yes, I do. So we stop this instance. Now let's return and ensure that it actually has indeed been stopped. And then we delete it. Sure we want to delete it? Yes, we do. Clean up totally and delete it. We go to the apps. We see that it is gone now. Let's go to the instances for HP and then OpenStack. Oh, for goodness sakes. Back to applications. So the application doesn't exist. Back to admin. Services tab. You see likewise that this service does not exist within this development endpoint. So next, let's go to Healy and OpenStack. And we see that that instance is now gone. It's been removed from control of the PaaS layer. So I trust that doing this so there it is gone. I trust during this this brief demo I've given you an example of how the Helion development platform could be a powerful tool in code development, management, and rapid application development and deployment. How that lowers your total cost of ownership. How it's going to foster and enhance agile development in a polyglot framework. And then lastly, it demonstrates how an enterprise-grade application can be well served by using this sort of development. And if there are no more questions, if there are any more questions, please feel free to bring those up now. But otherwise, then my next question to you would be, when would you like to set up an on-site demonstration and proof of concept? Thank you for your time.